tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Yes, the theme song to a not-so-eventful first half of a 2-hour Season 2 premiere of Last Ship, starring with the hunky Eric Dane, which we will get right into. Hello, everybody. We are so excited to be back. My name is Monse Bolanos. Please tweet me, follow me on Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. Across from me, Kate Aquillano.
You didn't mess it up!
Yay!
Hi, guys. I'm Kate Aquillano. You can follow me on all social media at Kate Aquillano. Last name is Aquillano. It's a really tough one. I'm sorry, guys.
It is, and I got it right.
You did get it right. I'm props.
Friendship.
Before we jump into this epic 2-hour premiere, I just want to remind you guys to go over to podcast1.com. It's a quick survey that you guys can take and let us know what you like about the after shows, what you don't like, what you want to see. We just want to make these better and what you guys want. So head over to podcast1.com. It takes like 3 minutes. It's real quick.
Real quick. Do it.
So if you do that, that'd be great.
And at the same time, you can go rate us 5 stars. I mean, just do it all at the same time. Tweet us, add us, go to podcast1.com, go rate us 5 stars. And it'll be that easy, right?
It's easy. Easy peasy.
Easy peasy.
Just like taking back the ship.
I was just
but
gonna
not.
but not so much. So we finally had the premiere after you were saying, how long did we have to wait?
We had to wait. I think it's over a year. I distinctly remember tweeting at the end of last season, like, oh my God, I have to wait a year for this show. So I'm so excited that it's back.
I am very excited that it's back for that same reason. Now let's get into it. It was 2 different episodes.
Yes.
Technically. The very first episode, it was okay.
Okay.
I like that. I like that we immediately started off where we left off.
Yes.
Right? But it kind of moved a little slow.
It was very slow, and I mean, I guess everyone had to like get used to what they were seeing again. Like, oh, I remember that character. I remember this character. This connects to this. But it was very slow.
Yeah.
It was suspenseful, but slow.
Slow. The way the first episode ended on a good note, and then it led into the second half of the episode.
Right.
But yeah, I agree with you. I feel like the first 45 minutes maybe were kind of like, let's remind you all why you're here.
Yeah.
Because of these people, you like these people. You know, you like Foster and Green and Chandler.
You don't like Granderson. And
you don't like Granderson.
These are the people that she's like handpicked to be in the classroom because they're geniuses, and she's trying to like save the elite population.
I like that they reminded us of the important little facts that maybe we would have forgotten. And it's crazy because I was telling you that I read an article on Stripes.com that said that season 2 was going to go into
that was the arch over everything. So I'm curious to see. I mean, obviously the arch is save the world, but let's have a smaller goal for season 2. And I just don't know what that is yet.
Me neither. But let's talk about the first episode.
Yes.
The first 60 minutes. So let's see. We know that Amy and all of her people are trying to take over the ship, and Quincy is shot.
I forgot that he got shot at the last season finale.
I forgot until I saw it, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I thought he should have died.
Because you didn't like...
It's not that I didn't like him. It was just like, you were bad. Like,
he was bad.
You screwed the people on the ship for your own benefit. And he made a full circle, you know, he helped them out. And I remember thinking he should have died in the last season finale.
I feel bad for Quincy. I mean, I get it. He was trying to save his family. There's a lot of factors into his actions. But yeah, he was shot. The ship is completely taken over.
Completely. So quickly.
Yeah.
Right? Like every room. And everyone's just kind of being complacent. And at one point, they gave us numbers. What did they say? There's 25 of you and
like 80 of us.
80 of us. And it's like, well, if that's the number, what are y'all doing?
Take them
down.
They had guns, all right.
They had guns.
And they had to, have a little strategy.
They did. Okay, they did. I guess it's right that they calmly did everything. But from the very beginning, so Danny, Jeter, Chandler, Lieutenant Burke, they're not around. They're out on location.
Right.
Because they were going to help Chandler's family.
Yeah, so I remember at the end of last season, like, they get off to meet Granderson, and they like leave Dr. Scott at the building, and then they go and get the family, and that's when they kind of discover that she is killing all these innocent people. She's burning their bodies for fuel to the city has lights. And so that's when they, the light bulb hits at the end that she's not a good person.
Right, because she's hand choosing who gets to live and who doesn't.
Right.
And she's killing the people by giving them not what they think is the
cure.
The cure. Yeah, the cure
will help them. But yeah, and then even though now that she has the cure, she's not stopping what she's doing.
Right. And that was what her daughter was saying.
Yeah.
Alicia at some point. So we are already fully aware that they know that they have to take Amy Granderson down.
Yes.
And they kind of have a plan. A plan in store. Little by little, they start taking everyone down.
Yeah.
The first place they go to is the power plant.
Yes.
That's the very first place. And we got Lieutenant Burke and Danny Green, who take the suits, the like face mask suits that protect them, the hazmat suit, all of that. They steal that and show up with dead bodies on a truck.
And Chandler's laying in the truck with dead bodies. Like, dude, I know you're immune to this, but that's just nasty.
That is weird. I know. And he was just there, and they're able to get in, which I thought was real smart. And I was like, this can't go well, right?
Well, I mean, they still are outnumbered.
Yes.
They got some skills.
And they got the element of surprise.
Yes.
Which is what came in handy every single time they attacked. It was the element of surprise.
Yeah.
So they head into the power plant, and they are able to kind of take everyone down.
Take everyone out.
Everyone. Luckily, this entire episode, they had those zip ties throughout the entire episode. I know.
I'm like, who's carrying 20,000 zip ties? Even on the back on the ship, they put all the crew's hands behind their back and zip ties.
All the sailors.
They just brought 500 pairs of zip ties.
They're like, here, everyone, have a zip tie. If you feel like arresting anyone, you can do it.
Sure.
You can do it. So they take that down, and then we kind of quickly find out in the very first episode about the warlords, that there are other people also trying to take down Granderson, because as they were taking down people in the power plant, one of them was like, no, I'm good. I'm with you. This is, I'm with Thorwald, Andrew Thorwald, and the rebels.
Andrew, since that's easier to say.
Andy, we'll call you that. Yeah, and we find out all this fairly quickly. So then now there's like an alliance kind of formed.
I remember at the end of last season that he is watching, Andrew, and the rebels are watching the meet between Amy and Granderson, because they're like, what is going on?
Yes.
And I was like, who is this guy?
Right, speaking about Andrew, right?
Yes.
Totally with you,
So the alliance formed rather quickly. I mean, I guess if my enemy is your enemy, then we're friends.
Right, and that's what Chandler said. Yeah. In a sense.
So I guess they had to move quickly. So they had to trust each other in a way.
Yeah. Which I was all for. Yeah. I was all for, because clearly they weren't going to do it alone.
No. And that helped their numbers for sure.
And the thing that I liked about it is that clearly the warlords, or the underground reject city of 487 population, they know more. Yeah. They just know more information to be able to help out.
Right. They know more about the building at Avoset, like how to get in. And they've been there the whole time when the ship's been out finding the cure, that they know more.
Yeah. And while this is going on, we still have technically Quincy on the ground bleeding out. Yes. With Foster, with Slattery, and other people of Granderson's.
Yeah, and they're trying to find the primordial strain.
Yes, which is the way to make more of the cure.
Right.
Yeah, and they can't find it.
Doc Rios, man, to the rescue.
To the rescue.
He grabs it, puts it in his bag to go help Quincy. But that moment when they were like looking at the bag, I was like, please say he took it out.
I know.
Please say he took it out.
You were freaking out instantly. And it was, too bad I didn't even catch the guy's name, the like head of that group for Anderson. You know what I'm talking about? Bad guy in that group.
Bad guy. You know who we're talking about.
Yeah, you guys know who. I just don't think they gave us a name at any point.
Think so.
Yeah, so he sees this little like lunch pill thing, which is not a lunch pill, but like a little ice chest.
Medical supplies.
Like, yeah, it's like a little orange bag.
Yeah.
And he just sees that Dr. Rios is kind of nervous handling it.
He's like tying it up.
And he gets stuck.
No one can get in here.
Yeah, and Slattery is like starting to sweat a little bit, and so is Foster. At that point, did you think it was in there?
No, I was nervous.
You were nervous,
will say that,
yes, I remember.
But I figured something happened that they got it out and stashed it somewhere. They didn't show us.
They did not show us. No, I agree. They did not show us that they did hide it somewhere else a second time. But at that point, I was like, oh if they
Heart
catch
palpitations, guys.
Yes. And then it's not there.
It's not there.
But at this point, we still don't know where it's at. Unfortunately, the bad guy, that we don't know his name, decides to summon Quincy's wife.
Yeah,
and
they
daughter.
find the picture, and they're like, you know, blackmail.
Right, because they're trying to search everywhere for the primordial. And like you said, they find this picture, so they are with the sailors that are all being held captive in one of the biggest rooms. Like, everyone's being held captive, but in this room, it tends to be, 50 of them?
Yes.
Or so. And then they take her, and the wife convinces them to leave the daughter behind.
Yeah, I thought it was really sweet how I'm sorry, I'm blanking on his name, but the man who played chess with Quincy last season stood up and he's like, you're not taking them anywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, as much as Quincy did them wrong, they were still trying to protect them and the wife and daughter. But yeah, then the wife was like, you can take me, just leave my daughter here.
Yeah, I like the small examples of humanity that they show throughout the show, because clearly, like, the world's coming to a slow end.
Yeah,
pretty
there's
much.
no humanity on the mainland.
Exactly, and this show does it like subtly. They show that people are still people, at least in this story. You know, we hope to be that if the world ever came to this, that there are still people out there that are people.
I hope there's a Tom Chandler somewhere when this happens.
Right? I will go wherever
I will follow you wherever you are.
Yeah, you know, I will just look at you as I run from everyone else. So unfortunately, that whole scene doesn't end the best, but it's great.
I didn't see that coming.
I didn't either. When he was okay, so Quincy's on the ground. They've held the bleeding,
But they're basically going to shoot his wife if he doesn't tell him where the stuff is.
right? I thought
He was going to have them shoot the wife?
that's what I thought.
I was like, you are a horrible person.
That's instantly what I thought, and I thought it was because he had to stay alive because he has to help everybody else.
Right.
So it was like for the greater good. I instantly thought,
I guess
kill
that's
my
where
wife.
my mind was too.
Yeah.
And he was like mouthing I love you to her.
Right.
And I was like, is he really going to let them kill
her.
his wife?
That's exactly what I thought.
And then he pulls the gauze out and he lets himself bleed out.
Because if he's not there, then there's no point of killing his wife. Yeah, that was brutal.
I mean, he restored some of my faith in him, but like he did some shady shit. In the
100%.
First season.
100%. But he made full circle. Like, he apologized. You saw a little bit of human in him, which we were seeing towards the end of the last season. We saw that he was human and he was doing this because of his wife and daughter. But he goes out with a big bang.
Yes. Sorry, Quincy.
Sorry, I know, but we love it. We love it. At this point, they really have no idea where the primordial is. But then they do find out something.
I was real scared. They find out that Foster is pregnant.
Little baby.
I mean, I'm not a scientist, so I didn't know like why that was super important at that moment. But then in the next scene, they're like, oh, they can make the cure from stem cells from the unborn baby because she's immune. I don't know how that works. But
know.
Once Kara like figures out what they're about to do, I was freaking out. Because he's like, I haven't done surgery since medical school. So if you want you or your baby to survive, you better sit still.
Yeah, his name was Dr. Hamada. He was a prick. I did not like him very much.
He
like,
was
the way
an awful person.
He was awful. The way he was talking to her, I was like,
He put like a cloth in her mouth. Like, come on.
It was so inhumane. To take somebody like a lieutenant out in that, like, the way they were forcing her on the bed, the layout, whatever. That whole thing, I was like, oh, that's rough to watch. That is so rough to watch a woman squirm and like fight so hard. Good job.
I liked her.
Marissa
Nedling?
Nedling?
Sure.
You're great. We like it. We loved it.
Yeah.
We loved your whole scene there. And at that exact point, when they take her away, when she's like struggling, they got to do something with Slattery.
Yes.
So they put Slattery in a room. They lock him up.
But there's another exit.
Yeah, and it's like, and just the easiest exit, which I thought it was funny. It's like, why did it take you so long to take that exit? He was in there and he like struggled, and then like the next scene, he was like, oh, an exit for me to take.
Well, I mean, exactly. But I get it because these people that are like in control right now, they're not in the Navy. They have no idea the layout of a ship or like how everything is connected. So they're definitely at a disadvantage.
Speaking of that, how they don't really know how everything is connected, we forgot to mention O'Connor. Who
O'Connor
had jumped off the ship earlier in the episode.
was the hero of this episode.
The entire 2 hours, you're right. But in the first whatever, 10 minutes. He jumps off the ship, and they think he's gone, and they can't get him.
I thought he was going to go to shore and, like, try and connect with the others, because right now there's no communication. So they don't know what's happening on the ship. They don't know what's happening with the team on land. Yeah. So I thought he was just going to go bridge that connection. Yeah. But he comes back. He comes back because he knows the ways, unlike the others. Yeah.
So he is able to go down to, like, where the heater is. Yeah, at the bottom of the ship, and he turns on the heat levels.
Like up to 103.
Yes. So in the room where the 50 of them are being held captive by, 7 of Granderson's men or so, give or take? Sure. Yeah, they're all in there and starting to get really hot. Yeah. Now, the chief engineer, her name, Andrea Garnett is her name. She's played by Faye Masterson. Faye, we like you. We do like her.
She is hardcore.
She is hardcore, and she's a genius. Yeah. And she starts to kind of tell the guards, like, hey, it's really hot in here. You should really move us. Yeah.
Like, we all have to use the bathroom.
Yeah, like, place to drink water.
Do you notice how hot it is? Yeah, she's playing the game right now.
She's totally playing the game. A little bit of, like, the woman game and a little bit of, like, the engineer game. Because she does say, of course we can fix this. But one of my men needs to get down there. Right. And so somebody gets down there and is able to fix the situation. Yeah. And at that point, now there's 3 sailors.
So when they're moving, she like, because she's a genius, she distracts the people, and, like, 2 others scoot away.
Exactly.
And meet up with O'Connor.
Yeah. So there's 3 sailors that are able to now kind of help the situation.
And then Slattery's in the comm room.
Yeah, with the security cameras and kind of watching everything. And we have Dr. Scott, who is not on the ship, nowhere near them, is now at, what is the place? Avocet. That's what we're calling it. Because they still don't have a primordial. So they grab her, and they take her, and she's in an elevator with a guard.
Oh, I love this moment.
And then they're in the elevator. They stop in the next level, and it's Tex.
We love Tex. He makes me so happy.
He really does. He makes the show for me. I love him. Yeah. Tex, played by John Pyper-Ferguson.
Yes.
Ferguson. We love you. We're glad you're back.
I'm glad he's still with them.
Yeah, because I remember at the end of the season, I was like, I don't know if he's going to come back, and if he does, when. So I'm glad he's back.
Well, there was that one moment between him and Scott at the end of the last season, and I'm just like, you don't want to leave her, dude. Yes. You love her.
Yes.
But he's back.
He's back. If you're wondering how he gets back, remember in the beginning of the episode, or somewhere in the beginning of the first episode, he runs into somebody, just a kid, who gives him all this information about Avocet and Olympia and Granderson. Yeah. And then he realizes he can't go.
Yeah. But so see, he's smart, because then he's like, to get into, like, apply, if for lack of better words, to get into Avocet, you have to be tested that you're not sick, and then you have to have a specialty, and then if you're, like, actually good at your specialty, you can stay. Like, we saw a family get kicked out probably because they had nothing to offer. So he was like, security, and of course he gets in. He's amazing security. He gets in and he saves the day.
And he saves the day. He saves the day with Dr. Scott, because they find each other in the elevator. And then Aisha is, like, fighting with her mom, telling her to surrender.
I feel bad for her.
Yeah. Alicia.
Alicia.
I think it's with an L. Alicia. I know. When they spelled it, I was like, with an L? Because we were watching it with closed captions.
Alicia. Well, one of those. You know who we're talking about. And I feel bad for her, because she's such a good person, and it's her mom that's doing all this. And so she feels so bad for her crew, because it's like, because it's her mom, she's letting them down. Yeah. Even though she had nothing to do with it, she had no knowledge of it, but it's just because it's her mom, she feels horrible.
That whole scene where she's talking to her mom and she says, as a lieutenant of the Navy SEAL, you can surrender to me.
I was like, boom.
Yeah, I was like, you go, sister. You do
That's
it.
That's right. I will accept your surrender, Mom. Yeah. Do it now.
Mom didn't go for it, though.
Mom was not happy.
Mom was not going for it. And the episode, does it end with the electricity off?
So it ends with Kara. We go back to Kara, and she's still struggling. And I'm like, they're approaching the plant.
That's right.
And I'm like, dude, the lights are going to go off so he can't hurt the baby. And that's how it ends.
And that's the end of the first episode.
Yes.
And they gave us no commercials and just straight into the second episode. The electricity is shut down. You're right, Foster's still on the table. And there's a moment of humanity again.
Yeah.
right there at the table.
It's a girl to girl.
Girl to girl. Because Dr. Hamada is, like, trying to find
a lamp
or something, because he says, we're still doing this.
Yeah.
To his assistant. Well, I'm going to say it's his assistant,
yeah,
right?
A nurse.
A nurse, whatever. And Kara's strapped down, has the cloth in her mouth, like you said earlier.
And she grabs the nurse's wrist.
And they just have a moment.
They lock eyes.
They lock eyes, and the nurse, the assistant, is like, yep.
I get you.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And she undoes the harness on one of the wrists.
One, yeah.
And I was like, grab that needle and kill him.
And she does just that.
Loved it.
Loved it. I know. It was great.
Way to go, Kara Foster.
And I'm glad it happened quick. I'm glad it wasn't, like, dragged on. It's, like, great.
And at that moment, Tex and Dr. Scott come in and kill there's another person in the room.
Yeah.
And then she saves... Kara says, like, don't shoot her. But
right.
then they also didn't bring her with them.
Yeah, which you did say to me, you're like, well, she's not going to go on the mission with them, which
yeah.
I guess you're right, but I thought the same thing. I was like, wouldn't they bring her just for, like, we have to protect you?
Yeah.
Especially because...
I mean, where are all those other people that were in Avocet going to go to? I mean, she's just, like, another one of those people.
That's true, but it's, like, the mentality... Well, you know what? No, well, Foster, I was going to say the mentality of the sailors or anybody in the Navy or the Army... would not be to leave a man down or to not leave a man behind. And so I found that weird. Even though they didn't touch on it. They didn't say they were leaving her anywhere. They just was like, oh, we're not going to kill you, but you're also not coming.
Maybe we'll see some more of her in the future.
Maybe.
That nurse.
Maybe she's not out maybe she's not out for the count.
Right.
Maybe she'll be back.
Right.
Yeah, so then we have Kara finally is with Tex is with Dr. Scott, and they're still trying to get more information. They're still trying to take down Granderson and all of her people. We get to the power plant, and it's just Danny. Now, at this point, it's kind of starting to be a little bit of hecticness.
Yeah, I'm like, I get they are small in number, but they leave Danny to protect the power plant.
By himself.
Which, you know, Granderson sends every available trooper to the power plant because she needs electricity back.
Right, she's been already informed what's happening.
But he had the best line. I was on Twitter, and he retweeted it. Someone said, you know, when he answers, and he's like, Baltimore Water and Power, da, 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 da. You know, kiss my, you know.
Right, yeah, that was the best line.
That was a good line.
And that's exactly how she realized what was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she sends everyone and their mom to the power plant. Every single person. And I wrote down, Green takes them all on. Because he does.
Until he can't anymore. But he holds them off for a while.
He does.
So as he's holding them off, the Rebels and Chandler and his couple guys, he's with Burke, and it's just him and Burke from the ship.
Yeah.
And then the Rebels, and they go into the building.
Yeah, they're underground in that city that we...
Reject
City. And they use explosives to get into
through the basement.
Through the basement, exactly. So that is happening, but they get finally in. And Chandler tells Green to vacate, to leave, like they're in... Get out of there. And we do know that Avocet has somebody that's kind of keeping an eye around the neighborhoods for them. Because Jeter has left Chandler's and kids in a safe place. Or so he thinks. Yeah,
because Sam is sick, which... I wasn't too concerned with this. Like, I think it was supposed to be like more of like an intense moment, but I was like, it's probably just reaction to the cure. And I was like, he's gonna be fine.
Yeah, I actually didn't, when he said he was sick and he like threw up, I didn't think he was sick from the disease. I was like, well, maybe he has a flu. Y'all calm down. He just got a little food poisoning.
So Jeter goes to find a pharmacy, get some medicine, and that person, that like little tattletale girl, sees Jeter touch like a dead woman, and basically, you know, she doesn't know that he's immune.
Right.
So she's probably thinking, oh, now he's going to be sick, and basically he, you know, Avocet's going to find all the sickies to wipe them out.
Yeah. We later find out that she's at least working for Avocet.
It's like a trade and bargain. Like, hey, give me some rations. I'll tell you where I saw some sick people.
Yeah, I was wondering what that girl was going to be up to. It's like, is she going to...
I didn't, at first, when we first saw her.
I was like, is she... Because she didn't seem to be working with Avocet the way that they showed her to us. You
Right.
know, she looked like she was by herself,
She
kind
was
of
just
alone.
like scavenging for stuff.
And I was like, what if she kills them? What if she goes in? I thought that she was gonna
She was gonna cause some trouble.
Yeah, I thought she was gonna break into the house and kill Grandpa, and the kids were gonna kill her.
Grandpa, you're not gonna kill Grandpa Chandler.
That's literally what I thought. Is that too much? Was that too much? I was like, oh, Grandpa's dead. Kids are gonna kill her, and now everyone's just killing each other.
Grandpa Chandler, when they eventually come to the house, Avocet guys, to find them.
Grandpa kicks ass. So I was wrong about Grandpa.
Grandpa Chandler, like, you know, he is Tom Chandler's father.
Right? You said that.
He was like taking him down, stole the gun, and shot him. I was like,
Yeah.
I like you.
I was like, I see you, Grandpa. I was clearly wrong on my
I see you.
prediction. But I see you. Okay. So they survive. They don't have to worry about it. And Andrew Thorwald is around Avocet in the area. He's killing everyone around. He's trying to find Amy. He does see a former police officer.
I know. So I think, I don't know if we established this in the finale, but I think he was basically the police chief.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And
you mentioned that.
So, you know, Amy, Granderson wanted to work together with him, and he didn't. But yeah, that guy, he goes Jimmy. So he must have worked for him when it was a better of times.
Yeah, and he says that. He's like, you don't belong here.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't know what's happening. And he shoots him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But he ends up finding Granderson.
Yeah. I always hate these scenes. Because, you know, if your mission is to go kill her, right? That was his mission. Then why don't you just shoot her as soon as you see her? Like, there's always that confrontation, and you know it's not going to go well.
Well, you're right, and I'm with you. But here's just me being devil's advocate.
Sure.
If he was the head of police, he
I
wouldn't
gotcha.
kill her if there's no threat.
Right.
That could be
Like
it.
if she drew a weapon on him.
Exactly. Because she was just standing there behind her desk.
Yeah.
And I think the bigger mistake was not checking all his surroundings.
But he did say, I didn't bring my handcuffs. Like, basically, like, I'm here to kill you. I'm not here to be a police chief and, like, read you my Miranda rights.
I guess you're right, but I'm saying, like...
But he's still, deep down.
Yeah, like his natural...
actions.
Yes.
I get you.
His natural reactions that he doesn't even think of, that he's not telling his body, this is what we're going to do, just second nature, would probably be to not shoot immediately.
He was so like, into finding Amy. He didn't, he is probably one of the best police officers out there, and he's not clearing the room before.
He didn't fully clear, exactly. And unfortunately gets shot by...
I was sad. I liked him.
Me too.
I thought that there could be a lot of different storylines between him and Chandler. Like they would never would get along sometimes, not get along sometimes, because there's kind of like the same level of their, in charge of their respected men. But yeah, it was unfortunate that he passed away.
But you did mention that he would have been another Tex in a way.
Yeah, like he's not in the Navy. He's an outsider. He's, security.
Yeah.
So Tex kind of plays that role already.
I know, but I'm with you. I think they shouldn't have killed him yet. I think he could have been a positive asset. At least, have him for, some of the season?
Well, yeah, because, we'll get to it, but, the next step is, kind of creating order in Baltimore, and then they'll go back to Norfolk. Like, he could have been left in charge of Baltimore.
Right.
And now who's going to be left in charge?
We'll
see, but, he would have naturally been that person, in my mind.
I agree. But, fortunately, we had to say goodbye. And then Connor takes charge once again. So, at this point... we have kind of taken over a little bit. Like, we're slowly starting to take down Anderson's
take the ship
men.
back.
Yes, little by little.
Yeah.
And we have a bunch of the sailors that get out to the top deck or...
Yeah, so they went into the armory.
Got all these weapons.
Get all the weapons. They establish contact with the comms room. They don't know that Slattery's in comms, but he does some
gives them some signals.
And then they give him a signal. They have night vision, so kill the lights in the mess hall. That's when they take, those people down and set free everyone else, pass out the guns. Slowly but surely, they're going to take back the ship.
Right. And one of the things that they're doing is they're at the very open area, top deck. Maybe not the top deck, but in the open area, top of the ship. And there's a helicopter that starts shooting them.
Yeah.
It gets one of them immediately. And Sailor O'Connor, man,
he's like, cover me,
and goes for like the
artillery gun, like hardcore gun,
the hardcore. And I was not expecting it to go down the way it did, but he starts shooting the helicopter, and it
done,
takes it all down.
Yeah,
go O'Connor, right? He's loving it.
So yeah, they're taking back the ship, but also back at Avocet, Alicia gets shot.
Alicia does get shot
in a struggle with that main woman guard, and she just leaves her there.
And that main woman guard, it was like, really, you're the main woman guard?
I know.
That was some great acting.
That's why I think it was so easy for them to take back the building, because you have like the most trained men. Bless you.
Bless you.
You have the most trained men in the Navy, and then like the police chief has like trained his men to a T.
Yeah.
And then you have all these like rent-a-cops like guarding Avocet. Like,
I love it.
Like, it's not gonna be that hard to overpower them.
If only they had like little mopeds or scooters.
What are those things?
The two ones that they stand up, the standing up ones.
Yes. The segways.
Segways.
Yes.
Thank you. It's like, yeah.
But yeah, so she is there, and then Danny is back. There's so many moving parts.
There's so many. By the end of it, there are so many moving parts coming
Jeter
together.
finally leaves, Grandpa and the kids, because there's two vans. Then they go to safety. Jeter meets up with Danny. They go to the building to help out, and they find her like bleeding out.
They do find her, and they are able to save her. They take her, but she does say one thing, that she does not want to go back to the ship.
Because she's so embarrassed.
Yeah, because of her mom.
It's, and it's like, I don't think any of those people any of her shipmates, colleagues, are not going to think anything. Like, they're going to accept her with open arms, because she's one of the main lieutenants on the crew. And I think they will generally accept the fact that she had no idea, but she just she can't, like, it's like she can't face them.
And it's sad, because it's like the world is coming to this end, and you were so worried about what people think about your mom and this. And even though in the beginning of the second episode, she tells Chandler, I had no idea. Yeah. I had no idea. And
it's like she was your family, like, but you lost your family. So, like, this ship and the crew are your only family now. So, like, embrace that.
Yeah.
And we'll probably see that over the coming episodes.
Yeah. And at this point, finally, that bad guy that we didn't get his name, the one that was like trying to find the primordial.
You know who we're talking about.
You know who we're talking about. He realizes, Slattery.
Let me check in that room.
That one room that we haven't looked at for hours.
There's like gunfire all over the ship.
Yeah.
But let me go check now.
Yeah. And, he's gone. He's gone. And he's like, he just knows where he's at, because he thinks of the security room.
Yeah.
But doesn't he just think, he's like, that's where he has to be?
Well, somehow they were like, I don't know how he knew he was in the comms room.
But he just knew. He instantly knew, and then he goes. Now, I enjoyed the scene, but at the very beginning, so he opens the door. Did you notice Slattery kicks the chair to, like, distract him? But that kick of the chair was so slow, and I was like, are you kidding me? Kick it really.
Editors,
it was like,
speed that up.
Let me just slide that over to you. It's like,
I have a friend that's an editor on this show. I'll call him out and be like, you should have fast forwarded that kick.
Yes.
A little bit.
Just fast forward the chair, because it did not seem believable to be enough of a distraction for him at the moment.
Yeah. And those doors are heavy.
Yeah.
This is like a full steel door. Like, a little chair is not going to, like, push it back in.
Yeah, there was just someone, and, or Slattery, maybe give it a harder kick.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of editing.
But they got in a scuffle.
They get in a scuffle, and
Hardcore
it
scuffle.
ends hardcore.
He axes him in the chest.
Just straight up.
He deserved it, dude.
He deserved it. I agree with you. I just was like, man, the way that this episode started to, like, how it's ending, it's like, I can't believe
the ending was so good. Like, yeah, but we were saying the first 45 minutes, but this was
ends, like,
on a high note.
It ends on a super high note. I can't believe he got axed, but
he got axed.
He gets axed, and Slattery reunites with Dr. Scott.
Yeah. Well, first he over the intercoms is like, you better surrender, because we took our ship back.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna... All right, we'll go to that first. I was just gonna... I thought we would leave that whole monologue last. Because we gotta talk about that monologue.
Okay, you do what you do.
So let's finish... Yeah, so Slattery after... We'll get to the monologue. That was just...
We'll talk about it.
But Slattery, after it's all been said and done, he gets reunited with Dr. Scott. And... the primordial is saved. He hides it. He hides it.
Moment.
Just another human moment. like in the top of what?
Yeah.
I don't know, like shelf space. I don't know, in the boat.
And like the stuffing above.
Yeah, and he saves it. And
but they've had their differences in the past. Those two, there were some trust issues. So this was like, you know what? I get you. I'm okay with you.
Yeah.
I understand what we're doing here. Because he was not always on board.
Yeah, we talked about that. How, like, season 1 kind of made him almost, like,
the
villainous towards the ship a little bit. Like, I didn't trust him at times.
Yeah, Chandler needed someone that didn't always agree with him. And, he's the XO. He's second in command. He filled that spot. But now it was like, we're back home and we have other enemies. So, like, we all need to be together on this.
Right. And you're right. So Granderson surrenders after Slattery gets on mic and says, hey, you need to surrender.
Yeah.
We have everyone. We have everything. And Chandler faces her with 2 of her guards. They're waiting on the roof of Avocet for the helicopter. And the reason that Chandler knows they're on the roof is because he finds Andrew moments before he passes, and all Andrew says, they went to the roof. She went to the roof. At
least like, he had closure because, like, Chandler's going to finish what you started.
Yes.
But it was sad that he died. But, he was like, he wanted that mission to succeed to his very last breath.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, roof. And then Chandler just, like, nods and goes. Which is really hard, I feel like, for him because he's a compassionate guy. Yeah. So he couldn't stay with him in his, like, dying moments. Right. But he went straight to the roof.
He went straight to the roof, and it's her and 2 of her guards. And she looks at them, and she's like, shoot them. Him. What are you doing? I gave you an order. And then
he has a
monologue. Now, you guys all should remember that I have no problem with Eric Dane. I love looking at him. I think he's great. And
Tell me more.
He's wonderful on Grey's Anatomy.
Tell me more.
Steamy. But your monologue was not, I didn't believe you.
Yep.
I felt like there was no arch. It was like constant. Like you were angry and then you ended angry. Like it was just the same.
It was the same tone. There was no like emphasis.
Yeah.
He was just it didn't come across, I don't know, genuine's the right word.
It's like not believable, not real. Like it was just like, dude, this is so fake.
Yeah, I get what he was saying. Like, my children were in line to die because of you. Like, your daughter was shot and bleeding out because of you. Like, what he was saying was true and intense and high stakes. But I don't know. It just didn't deliver.
No arch.
There was no deliver for me.
It was so blah. And Alfre Woodard, who plays Granderson, she's so good.
So good.
Even in her subtle responses, it was just like she gave me a variety in that moment, being more subtle, while he gave me one thing and trying to be over the top.
I mean, this is the culmination of this 2-hour finale or premiere.
Premiere of the finale. But yeah, we know.
I feel like this is the continuation of season 1 finale, and like season 2 really starts next episode
because now it seems like we're just doing something completely different.
This was closure on season 1. But yeah, this was the main confrontation that we've been working for 2 hours for, and it could have been a little better.
A little. It was so disappointing. It's so disappointing.
But then, I mean, how do those guards just I'll put my weapon down?
Yeah, that was another thing too.
I didn't see if you know you're caught, you at least go down trying. If you really believe in this cause,
right? It should have been that one of her guards tried to shoot Chandler, and then the guard shot him, and then it was that would have been more believable.
Shoot her.
Yeah.
But he has to be the, he is a commander in the U.S. Navy. He has to give her, the rights of a U.S. citizen and a fair trial by her peers. He's not just going to shoot her.
And he said it's either a funeral or a trial.
Yeah.
She was like, a funeral by who? You? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
Jury of your peers.
Jury of your peers.
Since life is so normal, that's what
Let's just everyone over the courthouse right now. Jury duty. Make sure no sickies get into the courthouse.
Unless you have the cure, you can't be in the jury.
I thought, like you said, that some gunfire was going to happen and that she died that way. I did not see her taking her own life.
Yeah. But the way she took her life was so. It was okay. I like that they.
But she just had it in her pocket.
Yeah. The only thing I liked about it is that she did say that she was doing this as humane as possible. That she had asked Dr. Hamada, and that he said it was painless and it was quick.
But I mean, she was basically doing a social experiment. Like she was, I feel like it was like Hunger Games up in here, for a moment. But it was he caught her. You know, there's nowhere she can go now. But I thought she would at least, like, I thought she was going to, like, grab the guard's gun herself and try and shoot him. Mm-hmm. But she just kills herself.
Yeah, it was a little...
Because she's, like, so adamant the whole time. I'm not giving up. Mm-hmm. We're not surrendering. Like, no one can leave the building. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to make this thing last. And then, I'll just kill myself.
Yeah, even earlier in the second episode when her guards or whoever it was like, oh, we need to go to the helicopter. Mm-hmm. She's like, are you giving up? Yeah. Do you think we're giving up?
Like, seal the exits. No one's getting out.
Yeah, and then you're right. So quickly, she was just like, okay, well, I do have this here with me, so Let
me just stick this in my neck.
And die a peaceful and
quick death. So, bye, Amy Granderson.
Bye, Alfre Woodard. You were great. We loved
you.
She
was great.
We loved you. And that's it. That is a 2-hour.
Oh, but come here. What? Can we talk? I didn't do this show last season, but I'm a huge Cara Danny fan. And when they get back on the ship and there's like that nice song and everyone's creating order again, they're helping all the 6 people. When he walks in and they meet eyes, come on.
And there's like a slight smile of like, yes.
But like, what's going to happen?
I don't know. Should we go into predictions?
Okay.
About Danny and
TV predictions.
And Green.
Okay.
Green and Foster. There we go.
I remember at the end of last season, they were in a lot of trouble. Mm-hmm. I don't remember how it really ended with them, but they couldn't see each other anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's why, like, they don't even actually talk. It's just that glance. But now, like, they're home. You know, they're going to establish order in Baltimore, then they're going to go to Norfolk. Like, are they going to just, like, go off into the sunset? But then they get in trouble, and then Danny's like, I have a duty.
I don't know, but I do think my prediction about them is I say that she loses the baby. I don't see them
being
parents yet because of what's happening in the world.
Yeah.
And they both have duties. Yes. Like, I don't think it's just one of them that's going to be like, I have a duty.
I see where you're coming from.
So I say something's going to happen. Because they didn't give us a lot of what's happening next week. If you saw the previews, it was kind of like a preview of what will happen in the season. So we do know that there's probably going to be multiple villains coming in throughout the rest of the 11 episodes, because a total of 13 episodes for season 2. Mm-hmm. So 11 more episodes. We know there's going to be villains. There's no way she can continue on with the pregnancy.
Right.
So something's going to happen. And I think she's going to lose baby. And that's how they'll be able to stay working.
That makes my heart hurt.
And then after this is all over, maybe they'll, get together and you'll be all happy again.
But it was really sweet. Okay, so what happens with Alicia? Because he goes over to her and sits with her to, like, remind her, like, we're with you. Mm-hmm. So I think she's going to feel like she has to prove herself again. Yes. And, like, probably volunteer for, like, the dangerous mission. I mean, she has to get better first. Mm-hmm. She was shot.
Yeah.
But I really like her character.
I like her character, too. I say, my prediction with her, I say she goes a little cuckoo.
Okay.
Like, I say she can't handle it, like, what happened. And then, obviously, what's happening in the world is not easy to handle. Mm-hmm. So she's got to worry about the disease. She's thinking about her mom. She probably feels like people are looking at her. People are judging her. Mm-hmm. I say she goes a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Cocoa Puffs, all right. Let's see. I want Tex and Dr. Scott to be together because they love each other as well. But they need to... I mean, obviously, a big part of it will be finding another lab to, like, keep creating more of the vaccine. And that's probably when they'll run into these, like, other rebel groups that are trying to take over. Yeah. And, but they're on the ship a lot, which they're back home. So I don't know how they're going to keep going back to the ship.
Yeah. Maybe it won't be called the last ship anyway. I don't know how they're going to make it work. Go back and forth. Maybe they'll have different, like half of them split for, like, some time. So we were still following both locations, but just different storylines.
But, like, they, in one of the scenes in the, like, overarching season 2 preview was like they were coming on shore and like people were shooting back at them. I'm like, this is the Navy. They're here to help you. Like, why do you feel like this confrontation?
Kate, the world is dying. There's
but that's more of the reason to get together.
You would think people would think like that, but no. And I also think I'm gonna guess that they're gonna run out of something to make the cure.
Okay.
Like, so they're gonna be like, we're out of this.
Yeah.
It's not the main ingredient, but we don't know what to do. But if people have something to tell you, where can they find you, Kate?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Bolanos. Let me know your predictions because I want to see if we match up.
Yeah, and I want to know what you guys think too. You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Monse Bolanos, MonseBolanos. Be sure to rate us 5 stars. Go to podcast1.com. Do that really quick 3-minute survey so you can tell us more of what you want here at AfterBuzz.
Absolutely.
And next week we will have Mr. Bobby DeMiro back with us on the panel, of course. He was not here today, but he'll be back next week. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.